Works for us. It works for you, sir.
You guys want to go ahead with your questions? I'm more than happy to answer them. I will start by saying that we are extremely displeased that the state is not willing to address these issues head on, certainly as fast as they were willing to proceed with the investigation. They should be equally interested in pursuing the truth. And I think in this case, you may notice right off the bat that we're interested in the public knowing the truth. We're interested in the truth coming out, and we're interested in all information coming out and not being hidden all of a sudden by third parties or even by the state of Ohio. Having said that, these individuals, both third parties and the state of Ohio, were very quick to hold press conferences, media campaigns, and make all kinds of public statements. And all of a sudden now they're running for the hills and hiding behind specific procedural issues. I think they should be ashamed of themselves. And we're certainly ready to pursue this case to its very end and utilize every single legal measure at our disposal to get to the truth and to ensure that the public knows the truth. And that is that an innocent man stands beside me who all he did was care for his patients, try to make their last moments on earth decent ones with dignity, and so that they didn't suffer. And now he stands accused of 25 counts of murder when there are those who were empowered to know the truth and knew the truth and still pursued with their actions anyway. And we're just absolutely disgusted by it.
So you're saying this was comfort care?
We've been saying that from the first day. That nothing's changed, nothing will change, and nothing's ever going to change.
Mr. Baez, it's not certainly typical, but sometimes there are cases where defense attorneys file motions to dismiss cases, citing that there was Brady material that wasn't shared. What makes this case different, or what aligns that with that, other than just the
I can't speak. I don't know what cases you're talking about. I only talk about my cases.
Fair enough.
And in my case, in this case in particular, we know for a fact that there were reports run and people were made aware of that 500 or more micrograms was not a fatal dose, and this is a case specifically of intent, and the only evidence used to measure intent is the dosage amounts. And patient TY, who has been laid out in our motion alone, and then we're just talking about patient TY, blows their entire case out of the water completely. When you have a patient who was given 2,500 micrograms plus an equivalent of another additional 1,000 of Dilaudid within the same time period, you're talking essentially 3,500 micrograms of fentanyl or its equivalent. And then to come back and to tell the public that 500 is a lethal dose is unconscionable. And then on top of that, to file criminal charges, to run this man's name through the mud. He'll never have his life back. Never. Even if he were to walk out free today, he'll never have his life back. He'll never live down the whispers and the pointing that goes on in this community because of the damage that's been done. And you're not only talking about patient TY. You're talking about 15 other patients who had similar doses, 500 or more, but at the same time went on to live and died without fentanyl in their system. This is a disgrace, and nothing short of it. And the fact that everyone here has been duped should infuriate every member of this community. And to allow this nonsense to continue. I don't know how that man stands in here and says that he hasn't even read our motion. He's the lead trial lawyer in the biggest case of his career, the elected official, the man that the people of this community have entrusted with their safety and with the lives of each individual. to sit there and tell you or to represent to the court that he hasn't even read our motion? Are you kidding me? I had to sit there and pinch myself and wonder what world I'm in. It's outrageous, and his behavior is unconscionable. So I think, and another thing that hasn't been reported once, TY came 1 month before the first patient in the 25 counts. So under their theory, he gave one patient 2,500 micrograms, and the next patient that he charged with murder, he gave 400 plus 1. So where's the intent there? His experience has taught him that certain patients can still, not only can they survive, but they still suffer pain after being given these dosage amounts. It is left up to the discretion of the doctor, based on what they're seeing in real time, to be able to do these, to be able to issue specific medication. And it's just outrageous. And then when you tack on 15 more patients on top of that were not disclosed, that were not forwarded to the grand jury, it's nothing short of outrageous.
Judge Holbrook suggested today that despite the state's objection that you guys might actually get the transcripts from the grand jury. How do you think that would bolster your efforts?
Well, I mean, let's take a look back at this. You've got 25 counts of murder that was presented in a day, only 1 day. Some cases take weeks to present to a grand jury. You want to tell me that the 25 counts of murder you can do in a day, knock it out real quick, no problem? Well, maybe, yeah, you can if you're representing to them that 500 micrograms is a fatal dose, knowing that you have another patient that received 2,500. So, there's, let's hide behind the bushes here is the position that they're taking. And if this were a search for the truth, for which it is not, this man would be free right now. And it's that simple.
So you're saying prosecutorial misconduct, that could be a pretty big accusation to have to like.
It's not an accusation, it's the truth.
Is that something you level often, and do you think there's evidence to back it up?
It's not about leveling it. These are the facts. You take away the fact that the government had in their possession a patient, just the minimum of a patient TY, and this was not presented to the grand jury. That's a major problem. That's not leveling an accusation. That's a fact. And I hope that you guys report facts as facts, not as what things or theories that we're claiming or things that we're leveling or throwing out there, because that's not the case. I would never come before the public or before a courtroom and lay out a specific fact that weren't true. And that's it. It's that simple. And neither should that man. Especially that man who has the public's trust at this time. For a limited time maybe, or maybe for longer. We don't know. But all of this is nonsense politics. Using this man and his arrest as an advertisement for your campaign is disgusting, especially since he's given and granted the presumption of innocence under the Constitution. How dare he say that he's concerned about the presumption of innocence of his citizens if he's willing to do that? And I'm frankly disgusted by that too.
Can you discuss the issues that you're talking about before with things that have been filed under seal? Are things you think should come to light? I mean, are they peer review things that Mount Carmel is claiming that the public shouldn't see?
Well, I can't discuss things. I can't violate court orders. So I won't take that bait. But I'll tell you this. And I said this earlier, we believe everything should be made public. We're not hiding behind any privilege. We think that everything as it relates to, now names could be protected, things could be redacted, but the truth needs to come forward, and it needs to come forward now. And the fact that this is taking so long, you guys wonder why innocent people can spend 30 years behind in prison and be falsely convicted. It's because this system and the government and people, when they can't acknowledge that they were wrong. It's so hard to turn around and say, why is it so hard for a person to admit they got it wrong? You know, it shouldn't be that way, especially when you're dealing with human lives. This man's not a free man. He can't come visit me. He can't cross the state lines. He can't do anything. He's limited. He has to report his whereabouts at all times. He's not a free man. So to sit there and to take that away from him, and to give him the scarlet letter in this community, and to label him not only a killer but a serial killer, knowing what we know, it's unconscionable, and it shouldn't be taken. All of you should stop taking the guided tour. Go out there and ask some tough questions. Ask the questions of those who wanted to talk in the beginning of this case, and now all of a sudden have shut up, claiming, oh, there's a criminal investigation, we're not going to speak anymore. That's not true. They spoke during the criminal investigation. This thing started December 5th. Plenty of statements after December 5th. So for them to come out and now all of a sudden hide behind bushes, I think if you really want to do your job, if you really want to make a difference in this community, that you start asking the tough questions and you try to get to the truth, not just what the storyline has been out there. There's no room for the facts in these headlines, and I'm sorry.
If this were comfort care, as you guys suggested, why do you think the hospital fired Dr. Husel and then started calling patients?
Why don't you ask them that? Why don't you ask them why they didn't call the patient TY, who received the most amount of fentanyl? Why didn't you ask them why they didn't, those other 15 patients, why didn't they call them? They didn't because they know the truth. Okay? And if you want to ask them, you want to ask me their motivations, you need to ask them that.
Can you walk us through the timing? Why file this motion now?
Why? Because we got the information just now. Yeah, it was. You may recall we were in here in January asking for these records, and that was before we knew of Project Lighthouse. This Project Lighthouse is so appropriately named because it's the lighthouse for a hospital that lost its moral compass. And now they're really trying to find themselves. And I'll tell you this, we're asking for this information. We came in here in January, asked for it. Mr. O'Brien specifically told everyone, including this court, that what was in TY's records was not exculpatory. Nothing could be further from the truth.
Can you tell us anything what we could expect to hear at that hearing coming up in November?
Hopefully more of the truth. You know, hopefully we won't have any more obstruction issues for moving this thing along, coming up at the last minute, a reason why we need to delay. You know, justice delayed is justice denied. And why are we delaying things? How often have you ever seen the defense pushing to move a case along and the state not? Look back at your own history with cases, the cases you guys have covered. When have you seen that? And the reason you're seeing that is because this man is innocent, and he deserves to be free today. Point and simple.
With your motion filed yesterday, did you expect the judge to do anything differently than what he did today with it?
I think, look, I'm aware of their opportunity to respond. I think initially we expected the court to have maybe some discussions of the context of the motion and allow them their opportunity to respond, and then come back and litigate the issue the way we are. So yes, I did expect a little bit more. Of course, at 4:04 p.m., we were notified otherwise by the state that they did not want to take on any issues, and they did not want to have any discussions, and I don't understand how. They were certainly willing to do that when they filed this indictment, patting themselves on the back at their press conference and talking about what a great job they did. But now they don't want to speak. This is your elected official. You tell me why. Any other questions?
Dr. Husel previously said months ago that he had trusted the process. Does he still trust that process?
Well, does it really matter? I mean, does it matter? Does he have a choice? He can't say, no, I don't trust this process, and go somewhere else and get his justice. No, he's got to deal with this prosecutor at this specific time, so it doesn't really matter whether he trusts this process or not. Would you? I certainly don't trust what's being represented by the government in this case. That I can tell you flat out. And I can speak for Mr. Husel. So, thank you.